welcome to our next episode of Financial Fitness. We're so excited that you joined us today. And this episode is really special to me because we're turning the tables. The host is in the hot seat, and I have the privilege of being the host and asking the questions. So again, so excited, and thank you again for following us, joining us today, and please continue to follow us on social media sites and everywhere we're present. So the first question I want to get into, but before I do that, you don't need an introduction, but I've got to do it anyway. Okay?
By all means, but I realize that I could be losing my seat here, so don't do too good of a job.
No.
Because I actually enjoy doing the podcast thing. So
not at all.
So, yeah.
So it's always interesting to introduce the host, who's usually introducing the person. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen that have joined us today, right? The president, CEO, and founder of One-on-One Financial, Philip Board. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, and thank you for having me. So it's interesting to be telling the guest, thank you for having me. And again, it's, we're getting used to this dynamic. Yeah. Typically, you're asking Mia or myself or one of these other honored guests that you have, and here I'm asking you these questions.
And I got to tell you, he offered to send them to me, and I just wanted to be surprised. So let's just see what he's going to. If you tell me that I've got to pop off with a great joke or something, I'm not sure I can pull through, but. We'll see how it goes.
All right, that was number one, the joke. No, I'm just kidding. It's not at all. But we, again, with all our viewers out there, we've heard about investment philosophy. We've heard about, management and just good advice. But today we get to dive in deeper to Philip Board, the man, the person, right? The father, the founder, right? And so to start that off, I think it's always important to start with a foundation about family, right? And about who you are, all right? And so tell us a little bit just about your family, your daily life away from the office, even though I know you're at the office a lot, but talk to us a little bit about that and about what means so much about your family to you.
Wow. My wife, we've been together for 29 years now. I actually met her 2 days before I founded One-on-One Financial. Which was in the front room of a house I was renting with 3 other dudes. I had a computer, I had to borrow a desk and a chair. And the phone number from that house is to this day, to this business. So Patricia's seen me from the start when I had nothing. And fast forward, been together ever since. We fought really hard to have children.
Okay.
And it did not happen easily for us. We went through IVF and with not great results, which was pretty painful. And we did lose a pregnancy a couple days before Christmas one year. And we took a time out and stepped back, and then we said, let's look at adoption. And we did. So we chose to adopt, and we had named our daughter because we knew we were going to ask for a daughter from China. And so she was named Emma well before we knew who she was. And the icing on the cake was 5 years later, we went to China and we brought her home on Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
So that moment changed our Christmases. For 5 years there, they were not happy times.
Of course.
Like, I don't think we even put a tree up for many of those years, right?
Yeah.
Adopting Emma was huge.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know that that's deep, right? And but it's important.
I'm actually having a hard time holding that together.
I know. And but we appreciate you being real.
Yeah.
And really sharing where your heart was on that, as well as I think it allows the viewers out there, the people who are following us, our clients and other people that you impact, to really get to know you at a different level. Yeah. And so I appreciate you diving that deep.
Look, if I can go back to your original question, though. Yeah. So fast forward, we brought Emma home. She was 18 months. She's, as of the time of filming, she's almost 16 years old. We also went back to China a second time, and we adopted our second daughter, Lily. And she's now 13 and a half. Both amazing girls. They're awesome. So when I'm not at work, my world is around my family. My wife we've been fortunate enough that my wife's been able to be a stay-at-home mom.
Great.
And so she's the one that's there guiding them day to day. But when I come home from work, I take over. So I'm dad in the evenings, and I'm fortunate enough I get to take them to school several days a week. And I'm the one that does the sporting events, and I'm a little bit more social, one of the two of us. So I tend to take the girls to do their parties and what have you, which I really enjoy. So getting to know them, their friends, and what have you. So yeah, my family. And then our family here in the United States is really small. I immigrated from England when I was 81, in 1981, not when I was 81. So the only people here are my mom, dad, and my sister. My sister didn't have any children. So my family here is small. There's 3 other people. My wife just has her brother and her mom and dad. So again, a very small family. So it's important for us to be together. And in addition to what do I spend my time doing? I love riding a bicycle. Keeps me fit. In the winter, I'm a skier. And besides that, I love to cook. Indoors, outdoors, I don't care.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. It's always nice to hear about, Philip Board, the man, the family man, right? And to get a glimpse into, your life with Patricia and your girls. So
yeah,
really appreciate you sharing that. If we could just develop one piece that I think's fun, because it's one of my favorite stories that I know about you. How did the cooking originate? Because that wasn't always part of your daily routine.
It was not. I was at Costco one day, and the barbecue I had at the time was rusted out, and I was awful. By the way, I would overcook everything. My wife did not appreciate my barbecuing, grilling skills at all, and so I needed a new one, and they had a Traeger there, so I bought the Traeger on a whim. Didn't even ask her. It was a lot more money, and she just gave me one of those looks. And fast forward, I learned to cook with time and temperature. Then and so my grilling immediately improved. And then during COVID, we cooked. That's what we did. We got groceries and we cooked. We didn't go out to dinner. And my girls learned to handle knives, not at each other.
Yeah,
however, there might have been days.
Thank you for clarifying.
They learned how to slice and dice, and I think Emma's even got a chef tunic that says sous chef on it.
Very nice.
And mine says wannabe chef. So yeah, during COVID, we just really learned how to cook. So we don't go out to dinner that much anymore, except for things like sushi, because I'm not a sushi chef. So
okay, all right. Well, thank you for. That's one of my favorite stories. I also started cooking during COVID.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, because I was literally burning water before that. So I've improved a bit, and so it'd be funny. But I know that look like Patricia gave you when I started to buy cooking supplies. I was getting that same look.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah. Are you going to actually use these? I think was the look. So it's great to hear that you are. Thanks for telling us about that. And I know cooking makes you happy, and
it does.
You share it with us all the time. So appreciate that. So as we transition here, shift gears a little bit from Philip Board, the family man, and then we get into one-on-one, the founder. And you alluded to it earlier when you talked about, here you are, you've met this beautiful woman, Patricia, and it's, if they come by the house, you've got roommates, you've probably got folding tables out for the one-on-one financial section, right?
It was just a computer on a desk in the front living room.
That's right.
That's all it was.
And you think about, so that kind of origin there. So if you could, besides that moment, but take us from that moment and kind of give us the origin story of One-on-One Financial, and where kind of its evolution as it's grown. And if you could do it kind of swiftly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because it could be a long story.
Yeah.
So the short version was worked out of the house for a while. Then Patricia and I actually moved out of that house, and we bought our first house together.
Okay.
Within, I think, a year. We were in that house, and I worked out of that house for quite a while, and then I was hitting a glass ceiling, or a ceiling, and I felt that it was because I was driving to see everybody that I was losing a lot of time, they're like, oh, can you come see me at 6:30 tonight? And I drive somewhere to meet the prospect or client. They're like, oh, I forgot my son has a baseball game. Can you come back another day?
That's right.
And so I realized this was an issue. I got my first office space, income increased a bit more. Same thing. My wife worked for me at the time, and it was a default job because we like to go skiing. It was hard for her to hold other jobs when I keep taking Fridays off to go skiing, so that was an issue. Again, I was hitting a ceiling. I found this gentleman that promoted systems and process. It was expensive. and I decided to purchase it.
Yes.
And at the time, it was 10% of my annual gross income. So it was a big chunk of money.
Which is huge if you think about that, right?
Yeah.
To think that you knew you needed help, but the idea of actually then backing that up with 10% of the gross income is pretty amazing.
And my wife said, well, what if it doesn't work? And I said, well, I'm going to be making payments on this credit card for a long time.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, we go up to the training, day 1 and 2, and it's all day.
Yeah.
It's like 8 in the morning till 8 at night kind of thing. So day 1 and 2, my wife's head is spinning. She's like, I've got to go back to the room. I'm out.
Okay.
And then middle of day 3, she leans over to me and she says, this is going to help us be really successful. That's right. And I said, it is. And then we flew back, and the first position we had to hire for was our, quote, computer operator. And seeing as I was on a shoestring budget, I thought, oh, I need someone who's really good with computers. I need someone who only wants to work part-time because I can't afford full-time. And I had a friend that was a guidance counselor at a high school.
Okay.
And I said, hey, do you have any candidates that might be graduating and going off to, a local college?
Okay.
So I could train them and maybe they'll stay on while they go to school. And this person sent over some candidates, and my wife interviewed them. And that person, I happen to know, is the next guest on this podcast.
The next person to sit in the hot seat, right?
The next person to hit in the hot seat. And I know she's in the
number
green,
one. Yeah.
She's in the green room.
That's right.
So
we'll learn more about her soon.
You will.
It's
So
such an
I'll try not
important story.
to allude too much, but yeah, she was our first hire, and here we are 21 years later.
You want to tell us about the number of staff and sort of the
Yeah, now we are staff of 10, overseeing, I think we're 7 or 8 advisors as an office. When I hired Mia, she told me she remembers that I was managing $8 million, and me personally, I manage over $250 million now.
Wow.
So we've grown tremendously over that time, and with her help, couldn't have done it without her. So yeah, we're now 10, and the dynamic's changing all the time. And it's forced me to really open I've got to keep learning, right? To sit in the seat where I am. It used to be that I was a financial advisor that happened to own my own business.
That's right.
Now I'm a CEO that happens to be a financial advisor, and that's a dynamic shift. And the learning that I had to go through, and I'm still learning. I don't pretend to know everything. And so it's a little bit of a navigating by, what's the wind trajectory today? But we're making it through. So, and you're part of that team as well. So, as we're growing the head of the organization, I think it's going to grow faster and better. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the next few years.
I am too. I have a vested interest.
Yeah,
so hopefully I'm pretty kind to you as you're sitting in this hot seat. So because my future probably rides on it.
Perhaps.
I'm kidding. So no, just in all fun. But that's a great segue for us. But just as you think about 8 million, 1 employee, Patricia and you rolling up your sleeves to build this business, right? And then think of all the clients that you've served, and as the staff has grown. Yeah. And so, and to this day, we're still growing, and we're still looking for, clients that we can help in great ways, some of which might even be watching this today.
That would be the hope. Yeah.
And how neat that is to not just dive right into, to business, to financials, to cash flows, to income, but to actually know the people behind it, I think is pretty powerful. And so I hope that, many of our existing clients are able to view today as well as new prospects that could become part of the one-on-one tradition. So really excited about that. But as I segue, I know that you like to give back. And you like to give back, holistically. So that's, from staff members to your family. But let's talk about the way that you've given back to the industry, because I think it's a really unique story and something that's special. And a lot of advisors, they're so busy, they don't do that, where you take the time, you're just as busy as anyone else, but you take the time to give back, I think, to ensure that that our industry is going to be a better place because of it. So talk a little bit about that, maybe some of the guest speaking and just the holistic suite that you do offer to help the industry in general.
Wow. So through the broker-dealer we're affiliated with, they have a series of educational events, and they initially asked me to come and speak on a particular project. It's now expanded, so I end up speaking in front of 200 to 400 financial advisors, and what I bring to the table is one of the reasons we've been able to grow so well is that software that I bought that was so much money, it was the foundation for who we are. Sure. So it's systems, process. If something's not working, it's because the system or the process is broken or we don't have one. So they've evolved now over 20 years to this, and as the technology has improved, they've evolved. Where it used to be that, oh, you take this file and take it from there to there, and it was paper. Well, we started using electronic versions of that in 2004. Yes. So we're a tech-forward company. I love tech, for better or worse. Sometimes it's for worse. But for the most part, it's certainly helped us be as good as we are at what we do. And a lot of that is our service team as well. So when I give back, I'm trying to teach other financial advisors how to implement systems and process, how to hire staff, right-hand people to help them grow. And the most recent one that I kind of summed it up, which is kind of interesting. A lot of financial advisors look at their assistants, their staff, as an expense, as a drain on the bottom line. Which, in the basic bottom line, yes, that's true. But if they used correctly, they can be an exponent to your top line. So I look at staff as somewhere where we can bring people in. We've got to bring the right people in, and then we nurture them and plug them into the systems that we have, and allow them to help us produce more, give better service to the clients. You know, it used to be that I would avoid tax returns. Now I dive into them. I want to see a copy of your tax return because I know that the level of planning that we're doing will always involve that tax return. So I hope that answers the question. So I give back by trying to coach and teach other financial advisors to hopefully achieve what I've achieved. I mean, I enjoy what I do, and it's been really fun.
Yeah. I think also that those systems and processes, if I'm hearing you correctly, those systems and processes allow you to serve more people, right?
Correct.
Because you and I both know that the industry is full of a lot of great people, but there's also some not so great people in the industry. And so when you know that you have that secret sauce, that you know, or the holistic planning that you provide, you can only really provide that to a vast number of people if you have the processes in place and the systems.
Correct.
So,
correct.
And is that part of your vision of why you created those processes and systems to be able to reach more people?
Actually, no. It was because I was really bad at a lot of things.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
To be completely honest, just about every system and process that we have, and Mia will attest to this, and they were created because I was bad at something. Right? I know what I'm really good at, and there's a lot of things I'm not good at. But what evolved out of my failures was, instead of just saying deal with it, it was like, well, okay, well, how can we fix this so that it doesn't happen again? And so I got to give full credit to Mia because she is the architect behind them all. And
we'll be seeing, as we just alluded to earlier, we'll be having Mia sit in this seat just in a few moments. So we don't want to take too much of her thunder, but it's also important to know.
I give her complete credit. The systems and processes were created because I was bad at a lot of things, and I would forget things, and things would fall through the cracks. So each one of those was brought online to prevent this. What's actually now happened looking forward is an advisor can plug in, and they might actually have a strong suite where I've got a weak spot, but now we've got this foundational where there's a set service model involved. We know how the paperwork's going to be generated. We know, so it makes it expandable very easily because of my flaws.
Well, we appreciate your humility and your honesty on that, because I don't know that everybody out there would have answered that in the same way, right?
No.
And let me just as a new observer, I've known you a long time as a friend, but as someone who's new to the one-on-one team, I think the other part that is extremely important from the client's perspective. So part of this was you knew what you were good at, and then Mia and others were able to create these processes.
Right.
But the second part is, I think, when we think about what's important to people, we started today with your family, right? Health, right? But right up there on that hand often is their finances, right? And so what I think that you've done with Mia and the other team members is also create an environment that no matter what, there's a contingency plan, for the client and their finances. Could you speak to a little bit of that?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes, you
Am
can.
I allowed?
Yeah.
Are you talking about within one-on-one financial? Are you talking about contingency there, or are you talking about just the client, their personal finances?
I think it is the fact that the systems and processes, because I think it's not as common as we might think, that there's always going to be someone available to help a one-on-one client.
Got it.
So
got
that's
it.
how I would clarify
All right.
that.
Thank
And
you.
So,
So, 100% correct. A lot of independent financial advisors, the buck stops with them.
that's right.
And which is great, but the buck stops with them. And as this industry ages, and I remember I would go to meetings and I was the one asking the questions, and now I'm the one being asked questions of. So somewhere
That's
in
right.
there, something shifted. But the purpose of the team is so that there's things I do well and there's a lot of things I don't do well. And by having other team members handle that, also, there's an age difference between you and I, between myself and Mia, Kurt. I'm building this so if something happens to me and, if there was some wood to knock on, I don't plan on going anywhere for a long while, but if something were to happen, there would be continuity within the business.
That's right.
And that way the clients know that whatever planning we put in place, nothing changes because I'm not the one driving that plan. So as a firm, we have continuity. And this comes from looking at, not to pick on some of our brethren that work in banks, for instance. Every so often, you get a new advisor at the bank with a whole new plan. I mean, you and I can look at a plan. You're going to dissect it one way. I'm going to dissect it another way. Right. So every time there's a new set of eyes on something, there's a slight course correction. Well, in having this systems process driven, and this is the plan that's put in place, it makes it really easy for someone else to pick up where I left off, right? And it just continues so the clients are not disrupted by our disruption.
That's right. That's right. Or that you can restfully go with your family, which is so important, out of town on a vacation, and know that any of your clients' needs can be met right at the office. They don't have to call a custodian. They don't have to wait on hold. It's right there during business hours. And I think that's pretty incredible, and it's not as common as you might think. So
I am learning that. I thought everybody ran their business the way I do, but I am learning that we are the unicorn, or one of very few unicorns in the independent side, versus the large amount of advisors out there they show up and they wing it, and if they're on vacation, they answer their phone. And that's something else I like to, when we talk about the team, and I know you're going through this right now, withdrawals. When you're not at work, you're not at work, right? And I know you've got a vacation coming up, so don't be checking that email. I mean, that sounds horrible, but we protect each other's time.
But we have a team that can allow for that, right?
Correct.
Which I'm not. Maybe there's been times in my life I didn't always have that trust or that team behind me.
And like when Kurt joined us, the same thing with him as well. It's like, hey, look, if you're off, be away, because I want you to recharge and come back invigorated, not stressed out because you worked your whole vacation.
That's right.
Because that's not a vacation at all. That's just work in a different spot. So I like to recharge myself. I know that I need a certain amount of time away takes me a couple of days to disconnect. And then I get 3, 4, 5 days in the middle there where I'm just enjoying. And then I start getting back to that, oh, I'm looking forward to getting back in the saddle.
All right. Well, thank you for answering that, and I'm glad I got to re-clarify. And some of this is my own observation. I have a unique perspective as a host of being part of the team. So,
Yeah.
And again, we're sitting here today with Philip Board, the founder, president, and CEO of One-on-One Financial. So if you've tuned in later or you've fast forwarded, that's what we're doing today. And Philip's usually in the seat asking the questions. And again, just to recap, he's in the hot seat.
I am.
So with that, I have a kind of a quick one, I think. Is there one moment in your professional career that sticks out the most? An award, moment of bliss, a client that you've helped? If you had to just pick one that you could share with us quickly, what moment would that be?
Okay, I got to do two.
Okay,
because
all right.
one's all about me.
Okay.
And one, I had this one client. He came in to see us, and he was early 60s, and he's like, I like my job. I don't particularly love the boss I have right now, but it's fine. Blah 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 blah. And I got him writing his financial plan. And I said, well, that's great. You now know that you are going to work because you choose to, not because you have to. You can retire anytime you like. And he choked up a little bit, and he never thought he'd be able to retire. So
That's emotionally powerful.
It was, and that stuck in my mind. And being able to tell someone that they've done a great job of accumulating their assets, and they're now in a position to benefit from that. And he didn't retire right away. The catalyst for him was a family member passed away, and he realized he had to fly back home to go to work on Monday morning when he really wanted to just. I think he gave notice that Monday when he came back. And I know if you're listening to this, you know who I'm talking about. The other, like for me, being independent, I don't get to hear that I'm doing a great job because I don't know. I mean, you wait around in all day, you can't tell if you're doing a good job. So honestly, getting one of the top awards at the broker-dealer, that's important to me. That makes me feel that I've achieved a certain level of success. So that, on a personal note, that makes me feel really good.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing those. And I'm glad. So it wasn't one; it was two.
So it was.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing. And for those listening, and it could be a variety of people out there. Let's talk a little bit. We talked about the team and why that makes One-on-One and Philip Board so special. Philip Board, the financial advisor, so special. Yeah. Can we, in the team environment, it's always, it's important. We know we have the continuity. We've covered that. Talk a little bit about, if you can, the client experience and what makes us different than, say, all the AM radio ads that they're hearing out there and all the other, fun stuff and the ads that come in the snail mail still. Financial services still uses snail mail. You've got all this noise, so to speak, I'd say, for future retirees and retirees. But if you could sum up what makes that experience, once they step through the door, different and what makes us so successful.
I am now regretting not looking at the questions beforehand. Wow. Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
I've only ever worked for me.
Okay.
Right? I can merely take a guess. The irony is I'd be better asking you that question,
okay,
but I'm going to give it a shot.
Or maybe just pick three elements that they'd see. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to back up. You said what? Philip Board, the financial advisor. It's not just me.
Yeah.
You're one of the advisors. Kurt's one of the advisors. Mia, we have other advisors coming up. Yeah. We have other advisors in our branch. So it's not just me. It's all of us, right? We are a team. When clients call in, Rachel's been with us for 15 years, I think. Yep. She does a great job, handles everyone's calendar, just the way she greets people, and she makes them feel warm and welcome. Yep. She does her best to remember what they ordered. Did they want a cup of coffee, or did they have water, or was it sparkling or plain? Like things like that, and she gets to know them. So they feel warm and welcome. They walk through the office, and the service team is there.
That's right.
We've got the Texas team, we've got the California team, but they walk in the office in California, they see everybody, and they actually get to meet the people that are going to be doing the work. Right. And then I think it's the sitting down and getting to know people. Now, I know you and I have different approaches. I'm very conversational in my approach, and I'm gathering data in that conversation, so it doesn't feel like I'm gathering data, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But I've been doing this for 30 years, over 30 years now. So it's just so I think knowing that we've done a deep dive with them, knowing that we're going to talk to their CPA. So it's not just me saying, oh, you should do this. It's me conferring.
I'm glad you're
with
hitting on the taxes, because I think, even though we don't prepare taxes,
Thank you.
It's a partnership that you have to, when you look at that tax return, when you reach out to other tax preparers, if it's complex. And I think that dialogue is so healthy, and often it can be so rigid. And you found a way to make that fluid.
Yes. So we love to work with our clients' CPAs. It's the estate planning. We try and make sure that no matter what happens, whether they live healthily or unfortunately unhealthily or pass away, that the financial planning that we're doing will cover every contingency for themselves or their spouse and or their children, depending on what their goals are, right? So I would say that our attention to detail, and I say that with tongue in cheek because you know me, I'm not very detail oriented, but in gathering this information,
the process
way we do
is.
The process is.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, because of my own weaknesses, it's become a strength.
That's right.
Of the firm.
Yeah, very well said. And I think for those that are out there, listening, and or watching, right, you start to kind of get that picture in your mind of what makes us special, right? What makes us different. The other part that I would, if you can just highlight quickly, would be maybe the open architecture of the organization behind us, that allows those products, because I've seen both sides, right? I've seen sides where you have the open architecture, and I've also seen a side where it's really prepackaged and predetermined. And open architecture, in my opinion, can really be a huge benefit to clients, because you're not just squished into something that may not fit you. If you could just talk briefly to that, I think that would be something wonderful for the audience to hear.
So, thank you. A lot of the financial advisors, when they choose a business partner, they're either fiduciary, which is great, so that kind of limits them to stocks, bonds, mutual funds, managed money, and maybe some fixed indexed annuities, sure. Right? Or if they work for a large, well-known firm, because of the firm wants to compartmentalize everything, they're probably limited to stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and annuities, right? Yep. Same thing. We're even on the independent side, a lot of those firms limit what they're allowed to do. Some of the larger ones are actually, they do have some other options available, but because their network is so big, some of the smaller companies out there can't even sell to them because they would sell out on the first day, right? So we're with a firm down in Anaheim, California, that really offers a great deal of different product selection, almost too much. It can be a little overwhelming to a new advisor coming in from an environment that was very limited to where we are. The downside is you have to be aware of a lot.
That's right.
Right? The good side is when you are aware of a lot, when I sit down in front of clients, I have many more arrows in my quiver that I can pull out.
Yeah, I keep thinking of you with your chef hat on that we talked about earlier when you start cooking, right? Now
I got a full spice rack.
That's right, and the full produce section and your proteins, if that's, you have it all. And so I appreciate that. I think that that's important for prospective clients and clients to understand that the custom tailored, it's a gourmet meal, not a TV dinner.
Correct.
Per se. So.
And you've asked this in terms of the client, but for other financial advisors out there, if you're looking for an environment where you can thrive,
yes,
by all means, we're not a closed, just us. Yeah. We would love to work with other people that are like-minded. So if you really like your advisor, but you like what we have to offer, bring him in.
Yes.
Or get him on our platforms. We would love to grow the business organically with great people.
Yeah, and that's the key. The foundation is great people. So whether you're, a client that maybe just isn't too satisfied with where they're currently at and the service that they're getting, or if you're a financial professional that wants to grow with a good group of people and share that vision and philosophy, one-on-one is the perfect place, and Financial Fitness, of course, is our show that connects to one-on-one. So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit, right? So we talked a lot about, I know, no pun intended, I know you're a big bike rider, out there. So no pun intended, but, and I have a feeling you're going to expand this question if history repeats itself.
Okay.
But if you had to pick just one book that has been the most influential on your life or your business life, I'll let you pick there. And I got a feeling you might expand that list on me, but is there a book or two that really sticks out to you?
Yeah. One of the first books I read, I never had any formal training in sales, right? And when I was first starting out, I'm dialing for dollars. Now nobody picks up their phone, so we don't do that anymore, but that's how I started.
Sure.
And I didn't know how to sell anything.
Or help somebody select something they need,
Yeah,
really, right? Yeah.
For lack of better terminology, we're going to call it sales because it's presenting solutions, right?
That's right.
It was Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
And who was that?
It's Napoleon Hill, correct?
Napoleon Hill, yeah. I recently found out that it was a book that was taken from another book.
That's right.
Which was called The Science of Getting Rich. Wallace? We'll have to look it up. Yeah. So we'll put the link in the comments below. So that was an early one. Then a number of years later, I got into, Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's a big real estate person, which is great, but it applies to investments as well. Yeah. So I read all of his books from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. Along the way, my thirst for learning, I got a master's in financial services, very select, but it taught me a lot along the way. And now my reading has moved more into I have no idea how to be a CEO, so let's learn about that. Yeah. So I would argue Think and Grow Rich was probably really, really high on the list, is the one that sticks out.
Okay.
In the beginning.
Yeah, thank you. And those are all great books. And I think again, it starts to take a world, like if you're looking into this, like where do I start with my finances? Those are some great spots to start, right? To provide that foundation. And of course, you can always get with us for a consultation, to really get things moving. Another question that I think is really interesting, and I kind of want to see your response to this, is tell us about your inner circle. The Philip Board Inner Circle.
Interesting. It's evolved over the years. My current inner circle, I ride bicycles, and I ride bicycles with a very successful gentleman who has he did unbelievably well. Started his own business, bootstrapped it, and kept at it, and he was able to make an exit for a lot of money. I really enjoy riding with him and talking to him because his insight as a CEO and a business owner, and that's something that I'm going to segue a little bit. I actually get this desire to be a business owner from my parents. They owned their own business. They always did. And I broke away from the family business to do this. So I've had this entrepreneurial thing my entire life. And I will argue a lot of financial advisors that own their own business are not good business owners. They're good financial advisors, but they're not good business owners. So my inner circle, so we talk a lot about the trials and tribulations of bringing on new people and how to manage a business. I've got another good friend who's also a very successful business owner. I'm around other business savvy people.
Yes.
Right? Because we're talking about money, and not just in context of retiring. Now, keep in mind, they're retired. So we are having conversations around that as well, but it's also the conversations around keeping the business going and how to keep developing it without adding more complexity.
Yeah, no, that's it. Thank you for sharing that. I think you've alluded to it a couple times, but you've really had to provide that level of service, that continuity, to give back, just in recap, to the industry in general, you've had to take on sort of renaissance roles within your organization, right? Not just the face of your organization, seeing the clients, that's had to expand so that we can provide that philosophy and that service, but also you've had to, you've mentioned it a few times, we did it in your intro, but you've had to become a CEO and a financial planner, right? So if you could briefly just talk about, those two hats, and what that's like on a daily basis, I think that could be really valuable for people to hear. Thank you.
It's been an evolution. It's actually super fun for me. It's challenging, which is good because, I've been doing this for 30 years. And a good friend of mine years ago, he said, I find that I reinvent myself every 10 years or so. And I'm like, okay, well, here we are. I'm reinventing myself as a CEO again, or not again, but this first time. Had you told me 2 or 3 years ago that by wearing the CEO hat, that more of my clients would be business owners and CEOs, I'd have laughed at you.
Okay.
But what's happening is the clients that I am seeing, don't be wrong, and work people with huge retirement accounts and are very successful in their own right, work with them as well. But the ones that I seem to be enjoying the most amount of time with are fellow CEOs that are in that profitable area of their business, because I'm doing the planning I'm doing for me as a successful CEO is the planning I'm doing for them. So this isn't, we should try this for you. This is no, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. This is my plan for me. And so it's really been kind of interesting to see how that's been received. And the clients that I'm getting, I would have never have thought that would have been an area of, it's the people I enjoy working with most. Don't worry, there's lots of people I enjoy working with, but those new relationships with CEOs are really fun.
Yeah, no, and that goes back to what we call the custom tailored experience at one-on-one, is that you could have been in an environment with a big defined pension and other deferred assets that you need help with. Or you could be a business owner that needs to take your business to sell, right? And so we have anyone and everyone can really benefit from the services that you lead us to offer. You know what I mean? So that's
and that's the other thing I think has become, and not to hopefully I'm not taking away from a question, but as my business acumen has grown, so has my financial planning acumen. And in areas like I just alluded to that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Right. So now I'm looking at, I scrutinize taxes way more than I ever thought I would. Right. So the planning I'm doing is, okay, how are we going to make you more tax efficient during retirement?
Yeah.
You've put all this money in this retirement account. How do we get it over here? So as my business acumen has come up, my financial planning acumen has come up to match that. So I would not have expected that.
Yeah. Well, it's probably always been a great time to be a client, but it's a really great time now, right?
Yeah.
Because you think about just your 30 plus years of experience, right? And what you can instill in the staff and in the other advisors, is pretty vast. And so, that's a great thing. So
yeah, and since I keep bringing up 31 years. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I want to point that out.
Okay, you heard it here first. He's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No. I mean, I've got a 13-year-old and a almost 16-year-old. So I've still got the 13-year-old to get through college. So I'm going to be here a while yet.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to know and great to hear. And I think it probably means a lot to the clients that are out there following and new prospective clients that might want to get on your calendar, right?
Yeah.
So, I can tell you, I can speak on behalf of our team. We are glad that you're not headed anywhere anytime soon.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, very good. I'm gonna.
A wise man once told me, "You don't want to miss a birthday."
That's right. That's exactly right. So, before we shift gears again, one other kind of quick question, which I think is fun. So this is one of my favorites on here is, and we're not going to do this, in front of our cameras and our friends today, but if you were to take an aptitude test right now, what would we learn about you?
what would an aptitude test?
Yeah, because let me phrase it like this: you're one of the most data-driven people. In fact, when you and I started talking, you gave me what I would call an aptitude test, right? Just not even that long ago.
Yes, I am data-driven.
Yeah. But if you were to take one, or maybe looking back at one that you've taken recently in that same system that we use, what would someone who doesn't know you learn right away, or what would be obvious?
If you learn how to read that, one of my unique abilities is that I'm a visionary.
Okay.
I am the kind of person that I can look over the hill. I'm nothing like Elon, but to the moon, right? Yeah. Or to the moon, Alice.
Yeah.
But I'm going to trip over the curb, right? Which you'll hear about from Mia. She facilitates the how. I'm looking at the there, like we're going that way. So I'm a visionary. I'm looking years in advance, and I don't just do that for me. I do that for my clients as well. So when I'm looking down, saying, I think a lot of advisors say, we can improve your performance this year, but I'm looking at, what's your taxation going to be when you start taking RMDs? How's that going to affect your? So I'm looking much, much further ahead. I had a goal for 20 years to to have the business grow to a particular size. But for 20 years, that was the goal. And I did that a number of years ago, and now we've got bigger goals. So
yeah, no, that's a wonderful answer. And visionary is a great segue as we shift gears into, kind of the future realm of one-on-one. So let me ask, where do you see one-on-one financial in 5 years?
Wow. I want to be serving a lot more people. I want a lot of people to benefit from our knowledge of taxation and investments. I know other people do that as well, but I've got a particular take on it.
That pattern keeps emerging, so we see how important it is.
It is. I am going to write a book on it. I have not started that book. This is my first little foray into publishing. I've now got another book coming out that's a larger version of this. But I really want people to understand how their after-tax returns are more important than their pre-tax returns, right? So if we can help more people get more money on the right side of the tax line, because whether you love our government, hate our government, love big government, love small government, I don't care who you are, we spend it better. You spend your money better, I spend money better than they do, right?
Yes.
And if I want to give to causes, I can give to causes if you leave it with me. So I want to give as much money to our clients as possible and as little to them. The more clients we can serve and the more advisors I can teach to do our level of planning and the way we think about money, that I think a lot of people would find refreshing. I think there's certainly, to serve as many people as possible, to have a lower tax bracket with a higher income. That's the goal.
Yeah, I think we have a mutual friend that talks about disinheriting the IRS, right?
We do.
In kind of your layman terms or your basic terms, right? But it's important. It's probably, in some respects, making sure that someone's retirement maximizes every cent has become more important maybe than any other time in history.
Yeah.
Than right now. So it's important. But thank you for sharing that. So to build on that question as to what was in the next 5 years, we know you're not going anywhere. But
No.
As we evolve and as we look further down the train track, so to speak, what legacy do you hope to leave with your clients and with your family and with one-on-one?
The legacy, let's go with one-on-one,
Okay.
right? Because that's the driver of everything, right? It provides for my family, provides for my lifestyle, everyone that works for us, right? It provides, it's the providing entity, right? So my goal is to grow one-on-one so that the people that are involved with it, whether they're on the outside as clients or on the inside as they work for one-on-one or they're an advisor with one-on-one is that it keeps expanding. It's almost like the Big Bang Theory, right? We're able to keep expanding and helping more people on the client side, the advisory side, and the people that come to work for us. And I read this book. It took me a long time to figure out what my why was, right?
Okay.
And I could never put my finger on it. I didn't know what my why was. I allude to it in the book that is going to come out soon. But realistically, I love to see the people that are around me do better. I can think of the houses that people that have bought, the new cars, seeing the lifestyle changes. It just makes me really, really happy to see people around me thrive. So it's not, what is it? A rising tide raises all boats. That's my why. I want to see everybody grow and succeed, no matter what their role is in the firm, connected to the firm, outside, coming in. I want everybody to do better.
Yeah, it's so true because, although I've known you for many, many years, right? We weren't always around each other on a daily basis,
Yep.
Business day basis. We're together a lot now.
Yeah.
And I can see that in you with your clients, with prospects, with our staff, with other advisors, is that, and it's a true gift, and you can tell you were raised well, so it's a tribute to your parents to have a heart to want to see people do better. And you have it, and so I thank you for that, because I am now living that, being around you all the time, and although a lot may say that, it's different when you live it out. So again, thank you for doing that.
Thank you for saying that.
yeah.
It actually means a lot to hear.
Okay, great.
So-
No, and it's the truth. So, but no, thank you for talking about that. So, and I might give a little hint or a little cheat if I kind of point towards this, which is you're here and you're here, right?
Yeah.
So as I kind of point to that, but can you tell us a little bit about, and you've done so much about the team and about your clients and but this one, maybe a little bit about is in Philip, right?
Wow.
In regards to what's next. We know that, and you can answer that beyond that, but I know there's something important next that looks very similar to this. So Philip, what is next?
As my career progresses, I think the evolution in the future is this was my first foray into publishing. It's a little snippet. It was well received. I'm expanding on this book to be a book in and of itself rather than a snippet. This is more like a pamphlet, right? I've got a couple other books in the pipeline, and I'm going to have Mia co-author one of those because it's going to be for advisors.
Now that's exciting, right?
Yeah.
For Miss Mia. Yep.
Yeah. And by the way, if you ask me, I never had this desire to write a book. It was presented and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll try it. Kind of nonchalant. And now I've realized that I've got some stuff to say that, another book is about, let's just say, disinheriting the IRS. So that's another one. But I really enjoy the public speaking part of it. The first time I ever public spoke, I was awful. This little old lady came up to me and she goes, "You're new at this, aren't you?"
Oh.
She said, "But you had the best dinner."
Oh, nice. Okay.
So she took the dinner, never called me again. To fast forward to now, I've been a main stage speaker at events, both on everything from presenting on Zoom to building a winning team. Most recently, AI. We're a very tech-forward company, so we're using AI where appropriate to give us better results and better.
That's exciting, right?
It is. It
and
is
new. Yeah.
So we're learning a lot about that. I think author and speaker, I would love to do that. I enjoy it. So we'll see where that goes. And still guiding the firm. And I'm grooming both you and Mia to come up and take the helm at some point.
That even sounds really exciting for me.
Yeah.
Right? Teasing, not about me at all today.
Well, and the rest of the team too, right?
That's right. That's right.
So-
No, we are. I think we're poised, I should say, for just a great future, right? And
Yeah.
we were talking recently about, we have so many great friends in our lives that I think are about maxed out on
Yes.
their businesses, and we're just getting started, right? We're just getting going. So that this, as we get ready to, kind of sum things up and wind down just a little bit, I've got a question that I think that's fun, and I hope Patricia finds it fun too. But if you could travel back in time and you go back to that time period where the One-on-One Financial is in your living room, the same house phone number is now our line. Besides traveling back in time to give yourself advice on many things, one of them would be get a ring on that girl's finger sooner than later, right?
Which I did.
Okay.
By the way,
all right.
I did.
So that's the Patricia part. If you go back in time, you probably should have done that a little sooner than you did.
Actually, no. I
okay.
was no. So things you don't know about me.
Okay.
No, I proposed to her like pretty quick.
Okay,
I knew.
I'm glad I asked this question.
No, I did. Now she didn't marry me for a long time.
Okay, maybe it's
because I don't mind being the center of attention. My wife does not like being the center of attention. So the thought of being a bride to her was a little petrifying.
Sure.
So I think 5 or 6 years after we got engaged, a friend of mine was a travel agent and said, if you don't take this cruise, you're foolish. And it was a stupid, like crazy, I can't believe it, that's that cheap fare. And it was a cruise in Tahiti. So Bora Bora, Moorea. Okay. And when we got the packet, it said, we do weddings. And I called them up and I'm like, how much for the wedding? And they're like, oh, and I'm thinking it's gonna be thousands. And it was unbelievably cheap. And so I said, babe, hop in the car. We gotta go to the jeweler. You're buying me a wedding ring. We're getting married next Tuesday.
Okay.
In Bora Bora.
Okay, maybe I should have asked if she went back in time. She probably should have got yours sooner then.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But it worked out though, because our wedding. Now the irony is, it wasn't legit because you have to live in French Polynesia for 6 months before it's. So the joke in our family is, I've married my wife twice and never divorced her.
I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So,
well, I'm glad. Just a little tribute to Patricia. So getting you back in time, things you could have done different. But on that line too, is there anything that, like, if you had to sum it up in, 10 seconds, if you had 10 seconds with your young self starting one-on-one, what would you tell yourself before you came back to this time period?
Wow. You alluded to that, and I started thinking about what could I have changed, and I wouldn't change much, to be honest.
Okay, I like it.
The struggles sucked, but they made me who we are today. The wins made me who we are today. The advice was just don't give up.
Okay.
Which is what I did. So great question, but maybe read those books a little sooner than I did.
Yeah.
But I can't think of anything where I wish I would have done that differently sooner or what have you. So, no, I got no regrets.
Okay, that's a great answer to that question, and glad to have some fun with talking about the wedding and engagement too.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's so true. And how many of us, people out there watching, listening, how many of us in our daily lives just stay the course, right? And don't give up, and especially in this world,
right?
With all the
in the Instagram world, it's like the Amazon Instagram world. It's like it's got to happen immediately, and it's like no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, could it happen faster? Yeah, probably.
Sure.
But it's keeping your nose to the grindstone and just grinding it out. And that being said, when I started, I was 80 hours a week every week, and thankfully I am not that now, because of our amazing team and the way we run the business. It's given me a lot more freedom, but that freedom allows my mind to expand, which allows me to pull the company forward even faster, which is almost counterintuitive. So I'm spending less time working in the business and more time working on the business.
Yeah, no, that's a deep answer and a lot to think about. But I like the way you said it. Just stay on it. Keep your nose to the grindstone, right? And I think for young people especially, and all people, but it's a good message to hear. If somebody's tuned in and they're going through different obstacles.
I'm going to add to that. Don't be afraid of change.
Okay.
Do not be afraid of change. I actually spend a lot of time looking at new software. And the question I'm asking is, will this improve something we have? Is the cost worth it? or how will our clients, how will we benefit from using this? Right? I'm always investigating that rather than, no, we've always done it this way. I would say that is a kiss of death for anybody out there. This is the way we've always done it. Things change, things improve, so don't be afraid of change. In fact, there's only one constant at our firm, and that's change.
Yeah, no, well said, well said. Now we have a really interesting part, in my opinion, which is we do have some feedback from, we have a small live studio audience, but we also have the online audience. And so the question is, and it just came through, is mentorship.
Yes.
Do you provide mentorship, and what would that look like, and are you currently providing it?
Great question. So currently, I would say yes, I'm providing mentorship for the advisors that work in our office or are connected to, because obviously we have open dialogue all the time. Am I open to being a mentor to people outside of our organization down the road? That's a great question. Let's look at it. I'll start another company. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So no, I could see doing that. And I think it's part of the culture of the firm is that as we each come up, we're mentoring the next level. So I know we've got some younger folks working for us that want to get their licensing. And part of that is they're sitting in on our meetings and they're learning from us. So is mentorship there? Absolutely.
Okay.
It's part of what the firm is.
No, thank you for clarifying that. And that's a great question, from our audience. I have one more from our audience as well. And it's, how do I start a company? Right.
Oh,
so it's
good
not just financial services. It could be, but the question in general, how do I start a company? Probably somebody maybe on the younger side or somebody out there getting set to go. And I mean, you could go anything from starting maybe your incorporation to a sole proprietor. You could answer it that way, or maybe you talk a little bit philosophical, but how do I start a company?
Well, first of all, what is the company? You got to define what it is it's going to do, right? I would look at don't have your expenses exceed your revenue stream.
That's
right?
great
Number
advice.
one, right?
Yeah.
So understand that growth will happen slowly. Don't hire too fast. Don't grow beyond your means. Be very calculated in the risks you're taking. As far as starting a company, that's a really large question because a lot of people are like, well, is it a corporation, right? Which is now a tax planning question, which does come into play when you make a certain amount of money. It makes sense. But when you're first starting, start with a sole proprietorship. Don't get it going first before you quit your day job, as it were, and
I understand.
and go from there. Also, keep learning. How to start a company. It's understand the rules and regulations for what it is you're doing. You got to know what that is, and maybe piggyback off of somebody you know.
Find that niche, right? Find that
niche and find a mentor.
Yeah.
Find someone that's going to help guide you through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a much larger question than I think we have time for.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
I think that's an episode in and of itself.
Yeah. Well, and maybe our audience, both in studio and out there, watching online, maybe they'll inspire some, future podcast episodes that will have that tailored direction. So thank you for answering that. As we get ready to close out again, if you want to learn more about One-on-One Financial, please click on our links. Please follow us on the different social media sites. But as we're coming to an end, and this has been so exciting, such an honor for me to sit over here to put my mentor and CEO in the hot seat. I mean, this is so fun. I'm all smiles. But let me ask this: what should I have asked but didn't?
No, you've done a pretty good job. You asked a couple of things that stumped me. So,
is there something that you wanted to share with it could be on the family element, could be on the
what I'm going to say. One of the things I value, and I remember, this is off topic, but one of the reasons I ride bicycles and take care of myself is, I remember I think it was 10, 15 years ago, I was doing another 90-day program to lose some weight or whatever, and it dawned on me, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't ever going to stop. And that realization that taking care of myself is as equally important as taking care of my family, the people that work for me, the business. So I would say work-life balance is much more important to us. Me as the leader of the firm, I want everybody around me to be as healthy as possible. And not just because that means I get peak performance. You could argue that. But it also means that you're going to have more energy for your family, be around your kids longer, be able to keep up with them longer. So yeah, I would say that work-life balance and integrating like some form of taking care of oneself is actually, it's really important to me. And I carve time out for that for myself every week.
Yeah. And my just in my personal life, as we keep alluding that we're, working together daily, even my wife has already noticed some of those, some of that influence that you're having,
Oh,
which
that's
is,
awesome.
a real testament, because I at times have struggled with work-life balance for sure. So, and you definitely practice what you preach. And I think you're right. I think overall, I'm seeing that it actually is more productive. It actually just creates a better environment for all that are involved with you.
Yeah.
So that's neat. Is there, but on that question, anything else that you'd like to close out before I'm going to thank this wonderful audience that's been with us, but anything else that you'd like to add or say, because it's very unique. Usually you're over here, right?
Yeah.
So just sitting there, anything else that you can that we can part with today?
I would like to. I want to thank you.
Oh.
This has been really great. You put some thought into these questions and I'm glad I didn't see them. So this was not rehearsed.
Yes. And I know it's hard because you're on the hot seat per se.
I want to thank everybody that we've crossed paths with in the past, that I will in the future, clients, people that I've worked with. All of it matters. And all of it builds on who the company is and who we are, and it allows so many people to thrive. Like I said, I want to thank the people that work around me. I want to thank our clients and future clients as well. So yeah.
Well, no,
I'm grateful.
No, it is, and so humble. When I think about, I learned, it's interesting sitting in this setting. I feel like I knew you, but I've learned a lot about you. So thanks for taking it seriously and for really opening up on both a lot of business things, but also personal items that are near and dear to your heart. So it's very special. So I want to thank you. This has been great. And so the man, the myth, the legend, Philip Board, the CEO of One-on-One Financial, the founder, the president, we can call you all these things, the financial advisor, the dad, the husband, the son, so it's just been so neat that way. And I just want to thank our audience, whether you tuned in and fast forward along, please follow us. Thank you for your time. And hopefully we're doing a lot more like this soon. And if you'd like to learn more about One-on-One Financial, we have all the tech ways that you can get in contact with us, but we also have that old-fashioned phone number that was in Philip's house from the very beginning. And we would love to talk with you. If you want to share some information about your finances, would like a consultation, or if you want to be part of our growing team, conversations are wonderful, and we schedule time each week or leave time each week to fill our calendars for that reason. So with that, I thank you again, Philip Board.
Oh, thank you.
And thanks for this, and this has been one of the best episodes ever. Yeah. And we wish everybody well, and we hope that we connect with you soon.
Thank you, Tyler. If you like today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on all of the streaming platforms. Wherever you listen to your podcasts or watch them, we're on there. Check in, and if you've got some questions, we'll make sure that we address them so that in a future episode, we'll be talking to you. Thank you.